Do you have any plans to improve replayability, randomizing, map creating, etc., for the final release of the game? Right now, I don't think there are plans for it. Now, this is going to be kind of weird, right? Because like most people here have played the game for hundreds of hours, or many people here have played for hundreds of hours, maybe even thousands of hours. And so, whilst one could imagine that there could be better replayability features in the game, we also think that the game actually is fairly replayable. There's a lot of game time in here, and so I actually challenged the question of whether or not we need more replayability, since or not that we need it or not, but it's like, how big of a concern is replayability? Maybe not really that big, since people routinely play hundreds of hours of our game, and maybe our attention should be focused elsewhere on other design problems. Having said that, though, randomizing nodes and things like that could be really sick. I think may be doable as a game mode. Who knows? It's definitely something that has been considered. It's feedback that has been heard, and like my opinions here of like maybe we don't need it is not me mimicking things other people have said. That's just like my actual, just genuine personal opinion. And that there is probably interest in having that happen in the game. So it could happen. Who knows? But I just challenge the question a little bit. Like, how big of a problem is replayability really?
You can kind of argue that there is a lot of replayability in the same sort of, like, when you say replayability, you think like, oh, start from scratch again. But I feel like you are kind of doing that constantly when you're like refactoring factory builds, because you kind of need to in a lot of cases, or you know, you're building sort of the same. If you build like one steel factory and like, now I got all the basic steel, and then you're like, but then I want to make parts out of that stuff, then oftentimes you make a new steel factory, you know? Like, so you kind of like replaying the game by itself almost.
And if we were to randomize the nodes, how much replayability does that offer, right? So like, let's say for example, where I would normally get some oil, it's now in a different place on the map. So I run the oil to where I want it to be.
Because
that's the end of the randomization. That's all it made me do, is I ran it from one place to another place, and then now the game is the same as it was before.
I guess the difference is that like you have to solve a different type of logistic problem if like you have, say that if you randomize all the nodes and then all the oil nodes are on one side of the map and then all the coal is like on a completely different, that creates like a bigger logistics problem than what we designed for, you know? So like, I guess that adds a little bit of replayability in that sense, but also at the same time, you know, how much actual like replayability does it actually create?
Exactly. Trains. I mean, that's exactly what I mean, because y'all, like, in the game as it is right now, y'all solve those logistical issues anyway. So if we move the nodes around, maybe you would have to solve them in extra time, but you would solve it in the same way. It would just be, it would kind of be the same thing. I don't know. Just my thoughts.
I am a sucker for randomization though, in general.
Like... Me too. And like, I mean, I think there's probably a little bit more value if we could randomize the location of the nodes and have them like appear in really funky places. You'd be like, well, okay, this oil node is on top of this mountain. You know, like, I mean, stuff like that could be kind of fun as like a game mode. But I don't know what's possible in the game, and I don't know what the rest of the team kind of intends on that.
It's kind of fun if like you randomize and then you get like, you start off like, here's a great starting area, but there's a fucking uranium node that's gonna kill you every time I try to pull it through it.